All right, everyone, we are back with War 4 against Matrix. I will be taking in Quake, Mr. Negative, and Archangel, and I will have Path 7 in both sections and one mini boss. So, gonna boost up and take this one fight. And if I recall correctly, this is the only fight on these boosts. So, all it's gonna be is a very simple Quake and Shake fight against this green Goblin because he's on kinetic transference, so we don't have to deal with any power gain. Using the boosts because we have extra from all the compensation, so it's just really making it rain and playing it safe. But there's nothing special here. Just Quake and Shake fight. Obviously, don't take blocked hits. It'll give him power. Don't drop the heavy. It'll give him power. And if you end up having to block an SP1, could turn out to be problematic. But we haven't been using Quake much in War just because rank 3 options are pretty much open without there being a global. So there's nothing to counter. And this should be the last Aftershock. So down he goes. Moving on to Path 7 in Section 2. I'm going to boost up again. I'm going to take this Modok and then with Mr. Negative again. And then I'm going to Quake Punisher 99. 2099. With this Modok fight, it's just nice with Mr. Negative to completely shut down Spite when you want to. So he really benefits from the fight even though he does not counter auto block. And because of that, we can't really throw SP1 or SP2. So you're going to see me focus on just SP3. What I learned last time taking him here is that I don't want to have an SP3 with a bunch of light charges if I come out of that SP3 and he's holding an SP1. Just because if he decides to throw it, he's going to reverse my healing and I'm going to take some big damage from that. So ideally, build up close to 10 dark charges, and we're at 9 here, so I'm not going to convert anymore. And what you're going to see is I think I accidentally get hit with an SP1, which with his beam, it has been tricky to kind of time it. Like if you're late at all and you eat one part of it into your block, he won't dex out the rest. So, but you're going to see here, I'm not really going to manage my light energy. I'm just going to focus on parrying, landing my attack when I can, getting rid of the shield and then trying to parry again so that I can land more hits while the shield is down. And there I thought I was going to throw SP3 and then I was going to get pushed and I didn't. So that was what it was. I didn't get knocked down. So that's unfortunate. Now I get to build to SP3 again and convert more light to dark, so that I can have some dark energy for some bonus damage on the SP3. And now I overdid it on the light, and now this dark energy has a timer. But you can see he's going down. I'm not losing a lot of health. He's not gaining a lot of power. I'm not knocking him down. So what you could see with Mr. Negative is a lot of parry heavy, and I decided against that. I believe I'd throw this SP3 in the hopes that that dark energy was still there. I don't recall if it was. We're going to see after this animation. It doesn't look like it was. He didn't take the damage. So, but we did heal and he didn't throw SP1, so we're lucky. Here we're avoiding blocked hits and trying to bait this SP1 thanks to Rise to Power, him gaining power from hitting my block. But you can tell it's a pretty safe fight. It's just a very funky fight because you have to deal with the shield. So you're just going to get one hit in before the shield pops up and blocks it, and then you have to react to whatever he's going to do, whether he decks out, whether he decides to come at you and you can block or you can parry in time. It's just very, very goofy fight, but it's a very safe fight that keeps you on your toes. And I have the benefit of Mr. Negative being duped here, so anytime there's a debuff on him when I have dark energy, we get to do some dot damage. So a lot smoother than last time. And now we're going to Quake and Shake this Punisher because he's also a kinetic transference. So we don't want to give him any power or a power loop off of his specials. There are other counters. I think it's just what I was needed for. Ended up being take Quake instead of, let's say, Ghost. Or anyone else, let's say Tigra. But you're going to see from the next two wars, and even in the past wars, I'm not quaking as much this season without there being a global that's annoying to get around. But it is restricting the number of fights that I usually get, which is nice. I'm not loaded with 9 to 10 fights a war because there's not a boss island mini boss we're trying to bypass some global with. So moving on to this Mojo, pretty much if he's on 47, it means I'm bringing Mr. Negative to war because he's just such a nice counter to this fight. And I think this is actually the last time I gray boost for this fight because it's just such a casual fight for Mr. Negative. I mean, even if this Mojo had unfazed, I could still just SB1 to SB2 and just completely obliterate it. I mean, there are fights with Mojo where I don't even pay attention to the prompts anymore with Mr. Negative because he's such a hard counter for this champion. So we're building light energy. What you're going to notice is I'm not heavying, which is what a lot of people do with Mr. Negative against Mojo. And it's just because if there's a prompt active, there's not enough time to convert that Fury into a light energy before it becomes a degen with the reduced timer. So it's just parry combo, convert the light to dark if there's not unfazed through the evade counter. And then once we get to SB2, we drop it. I don't even care about the indestructible buff. The dot damage from the degen is going to do a great deal of damage as soon as that indestructible falls. So it's not even for the SB2 hits that we're using it. It's for that degen damage. And down it goes. So very straightforward fight, as I said. The only mini boss I had this war was Wasp. And she does have the white Magneto pre-fight on so that my stuns last the full duration of Archangel's heavy. So game plan here is just to parry heavy her and bait out SP1. I did not remove attack masteries and I did not wait for my boost to fall. So I'm going to keep an eye, and you see there, I thought I parried at the start of the fight, and I think that's has something to do, doesn't have something to do with the parry bug. It's just, could have just been nerves because she can kind of sometimes catch you off guard with a light attack and then immediately throw that heavy. And you see I triggered a Fury there. I'm not too worried about it because it wasn't a bunch in a row. It was just one. So I'm kind of just focusing on it, playing slow. We're at 5 neuros, which is great. Or we're at 2 neuros. We're going to get to 5 neuros right there. And she's just going to melt because her health pool is so small. But yeah, pretty chill fight. Once we get all those neurotoxins up, she just starts dying. So easy war for me. Nothing too crazy. As I said, we're gray boosting like crazy because we keep getting the compensation. BG1 tied their BG by not dying at all. And we actually, as an alliance, ended up winning this war 5-3. So bringing that total death down, which is good. We're headed in the right direction for trying to attain top 3 this season. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Keep your eyes out for the next one.